This
Good.
conference will now be recorded.
All right. Good evening, everyone. The time being 4:49. We are in session. Today is June 26, 2025. We're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Welcome, everyone. We are going to start right off with some announcements. First one being Old Home Day Parade. Our Old Home Day is coming up Saturday, June 28th, as of right now. I did hear that the weather may not cooperate, so we will look forward to hearing from the Old Home Day Committee when they meet this evening. Correct, John?
Yeah, so it could be a possibility of postponing till Sunday,
Okay,
but that's not definite.
great. And this year, it is a Hawaiian luau theme, so make sure you bring your coconut bras and your hula skirts and your Hawaiian shirts. Okay, another reminder, property taxes are due July 1st. Everybody's aware. Anybody else on the board have another announcement or any announcements? Yes, John.
So they did the Citizen of the Year, and for Tilton and Northfield. Northfield was John Sorello. I think we all know
Yes.
John.
Great choice.
Yep.
Who's good.
Good choice.
Yeah. And the Tilton was Ken Norton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Excellent. That's
And
great.
The interesting part about choosing those two is that they do things pretty much for both towns.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a blessing to have them, that they keep that unity
Yeah,
together. And
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
they were surprised.
Good. Very well deserved. All right. Anybody else have anything? Announcements? All right. Going into donations. In memory of Don Foote, we have donation from Caroline Jean Claremont in the amount of $50. So thank you very much, Caroline. We appreciate that very much.
To the senior center, correct?
Yep. Goes to the senior center. Yep. Denise and Philip Gerard, the amount of $25. Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Gerard. Salvatore and Francisco Lombardio, $25. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. Wednesday night group cash. You know more about that one?
It's a cash donation.
Okay, for $100. And then Gene Thompson, $50. Thank you very much. And then the ham and bean supper, cash donation of $50. Anything you want to add to those?
They all go in memory of Don Foote, who passed away, who was a person that donated his time on a regular basis, weekly basis, and he recently he had just found out 2 weeks prior to his death that he was nominated for the what used to be called the Vaughn Award, but now it's called the Older American Award, I believe. I don't know why they changed it, but they did. But anyway, it was a dedication to elder Americans in their communities serving the Belknap County. So that's off to Don. He was a lot of years dedicated to the senior center.
Thank you, Pat. All right. Going right into our first item here, discussion of CDBG grant for archways. And
Mr. Chairman, we have some Archways folks in the crowd, and also Jen Buto is on the call-in.
Yep. Hi, Jen. Good. You can hear us. So I'm gonna.
Hello.
So I'm gonna open it up for a conversation. Should have information in your books. I'm correct, right, Scott?
Correct. Under your, I'm sorry.
Beyond the minutes, where's the information?
I believe it's under your review tab.
Be in the review tab.
It was 2 weeks ago.
Is it just a request?
A request for the town to enjoin with Archways and be the pass-through for a CDBG grant in the amount of $1 million. And I am not sure where it is in your books.
If I may be a little bit forward here, I would really like to talk about this among the Board of Selectmen. Did you get a chance to?
I did not. No.
Okay.
I got tied up.
I do have some questions that I need answered, and I think I may just want to reach out to them and maybe give it another week until the following week otherwise I'm going to have to vote no because I don't have enough information and I really want more information. So it's either a no vote or we pass it over for 2 more weeks and then I can sit down and either talk with Michelle or Jen.
Is that something you guys can provide, folks?
It's not going to be in public in tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
When is that? Well, Jen probably knows. Jen, when's the application due?
The application is due in late July, but in order to put in a CDBG application, there has to be a couple of hearings first. So the vote would actually be just to consider a public hearing and to see what the public has to say about that. So it's a little bit time sensitive, but we do have another week or two if you need more time to gather information.
May I, Mr. Chairman? Jen, I, as I recall at the last meeting, I thought you gave the Board of Selectmen packets. I apologize for my voice. I've got a virus or something.
Oh.
Did I do know that you have in your email a description of the addition and the breakdown of the costs.
Right there. Yeah.
But I don't know that beyond that, Jen, there was anything further provided. I guess, Mr. Chairman, maybe we should give them direction as to what we're specifically looking for.
So basically, Archways is looking for us to make the application for them. It does state in the packet that they will provide all the necessary information, the grant writing, all of those things that will allow there to be no impact or cost. Oh,
Correct.
There should be no cost to the taxpayers of the town, right?
Correct.
Impact would be minimal as in regards to, I mean, obviously the structure and stuff, but it's only going up. So there's no impact in that concept. I think Selectman Constantino's concerns lie in some things that have been brought up recently by one of our other employees. So I think we would want to discuss some of those things with the other employee, with the board in a non-public, and then probably have Michelle connect with us so we can just touch base and follow up on some of those things. The only way we could do it next week is if we had an emergency
Special.
meeting
Special meeting.
or a special meeting. Right, Catherine.
So, CDBG grants, yes, but one of the things we need to discuss.
We can't hear you, Catherine, your mic's not on.
What were you thinking of microphone? Turn your cell phone. Thank you. Is, number one, is this addition to the building, the company, doesn't meet the requirements of the CDBG grants? Is it beneficial to the town? How does it benefit the town of Tilton? There are a lot of questions to be asked and answered.
Okay.
I mean,
So
what we're looking at here is, and I reviewed the minutes again, is office space for 6 employees.
Yep.
They don't provide housing, meals, et cetera, to help people. It's training. I'd like to little more about what that training involves.
well, from what I can gather, knowing the organization, that training will consist of training CRSWs, recovery coaches.
Say again?
It will consist of training CRSWs, certified recovery support workers. So basically recovery coaches. It's kind of like a term. And then Archways does host state and nationwide other trainings on things on everything from trauma, being trauma informed, to dealing with individuals relating to substance misuse, mental health, co-occurring disorders, things like that. And then a multitude of other types of trainings around those. So correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle. Is
Also parent education.
yes, that's the one I was missing. And yeah. Yeah.
Modeling, healthy parent.
Can you just step up to the mic to repeat that? It should, Tim, is that mic on?
Yes.
Okay. Can you just repeat that for me?
Yep,
In
we also
addition-
provide parent education from birth all the way through teen. We provide an ACERT team, so we work with the local police departments to provide a family support specialist that will intervene when children are present, whenever a police department responds to a scene where children are present, so that we can mitigate the trauma that children experience. We also have the peer recovery response team lead that is out of that office. She also goes out to police departments, both locally and throughout the area, when police are responding to a scene where somebody has had an issue with substances, but no other criminal activity has happened, to help get them self-sustainable into treatment, on their feet again. We have our program manager that is out of that office for all of our peer recovery support programming, which is in Concord, Tilton, Franklin, and in Plymouth. We have our early childhood provider who does the play groups both on site and then also at Bessie Rell and also in the parks. Her office is there, and our parent ed coordinator's office is actually there as well. So yeah,
Does that answer your question, Catherine? Okay.
It helps, yes.
Thank you, Michelle. So I think they're asking for that. But I do respect Selectman Constantino's concern on something that I do think we probably should have a conversation about, because it did get brought up, and we want to make sure that we are looking at the best interests of both Archways and of the town. All right. So if we wait 2 weeks, that would put it at what?
July 10th.
July 10th. That probably would only be a very short period for public hearing. Do you have to, Jen, do you have to have 2 or just 1? I can't remember.
2.
Yeah, okay. That's
I,
So you would-
I'm
Yeah. So for that to even go through, you would have to have
Your next meeting wouldn't be until the
24th.
correct. So that would be pushing the end of the month, Jen. So
Yeah. And I feel like we might be a little bit unprepared, not knowing what the concern is, but I wonder, I don't know if it would be possible to perhaps go into closed session and discuss with Michelle and then come back into open discussion. And I just wanted to add, and I'm happy to prepare things, but Archways was awarded a very competitive Northern Border Regional Commission grant for this purpose, to expand Archways. I think only 5 places were chosen throughout the state. We were awarded $1 million. It was a really rigorous sort of vetting and statistics. And there were several factors as far as benefits go. And with the training center, that's not only for staff, but it's for individuals who've been impacted by substance use disorder, who have likely been out of the workforce, and helping them become certified recovery coaches and family support specialists. And so there's a direct savings to the town when residents become more self-sufficient and go from unemployed, out of workforce, into the workforce. There are a handful of other benefits to the increased access to supports and services, means the Archway staff can link people to appropriate resources and referrals, so they're not presenting in crisis so often. They can really provide that sort of stabilization. And the architect and the people we're using really are invested to make it this really, this vitalization of the center of town.
Okay.
I don't think that it would be fair to our already overburdened schedule to have us to close and come back into a closed session to go over that tonight. And I understand that your concerns. The $1 million that you did get, isn't that separate from the CBDG grant that you're going for? Isn't there 2 different things that
Yes.
you have? Okay. So
Yes,
the
complete.
$1 million is that you're building up, correct? And then the CBDG grant is allowing you to bring in workforce to build these offices and support staff to create this outlet.
Yeah. In part, it would be braided funding. So the construction, along with some of the soft costs of that program, could be between 1.8 and 2.2 million. So that funding pooled together will do both of those things, allow it for expansion and the increased services.
You guys can vote on it.
I haven't seen the packet. There's a packet that's out.
A couple of weeks ago, it came.
We did get a
Is that
packet.
the one?
Yeah,
When
That
they
was
presented.
that one, that same packet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when they
I
presented,
didn't
they
know if
did
there was a
provide a
different-
packet.
Okay.
Anybody else have any comment about this portion of it? I mean, because the other option is we just go ahead and vote.
We haven't,
And I,
Hold on 1 second, Jen.
of course,
we haven't really had a discussion. The Board of Selectmen has not really discussed this, to go just into a vote.
Right.
Yeah, public hearings.
Mr. Chairman, I was wondering if I might ask a question that might help the board. Jen, At the public hearing, the public hearing is to determine if the public wants to go ahead with it. If the public does not, what does that do for that hearing?
Uh, we would not be able to go forward with the CDBG grant without a positive affirmation in those two public hearings. So a vote tonight would not be signaling that, yes, we're absolutely going to do this and you're giving it our blessing. You would be allowing us to move forward, to open it up to these two public hearings where there could be more robust discussion and conversation.
That's what I tried to clarify, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a process.
How many opportunities does the community have to award CBDG grants in a year?
2 times a year, or at least that's how it has been so far.
And what is the total amount? That,
The maximum amount is $500,000.
divided by 2 or for each application?
1 mil, we were able to get the max from Northern Border Regional Commission, and for CDBG, the maximum amount we can ask for be awarded is $500,000.
Right, but my question is, if
For one type, for the project, we would only be eligible for one award. We couldn't go back in 6 months and get another 500,000.
I'm not talking about just this for Archways. The town of Tilton,
Oh,
opportunities to award CBDG grants in a year. Is that 500,000 for each one or 250,000 for each one?
there are no maximum amounts that I know of. I know Donna Lane, who is much more of an expert at CDBG things and was in a couple of weeks ago. I believe she said that Tilton hasn't benefited from CDBG loans for, I think she said 8 years, eight or plus years. I live in the city of Berlin, and I think right now there's 3 or 4 active CDBG projects going on that were awarded in the last 12 or 18 months. So as far as I know, it wouldn't that wouldn't mean that other projects couldn't be funded through CDBG for Tilton.
Yes, we
And still
denied the
get
last one that
answers.
came before us.
In the meantime, still get our
We denied the
answers.
last CBDG grant that came before us.
Oh,
So I guess I'm a little confused. You said there's a maximum of 500,000, but then you just said there was no maximum. So I guess I still don't know the answer to my question.
I apologize. I thought you meant for Archways specifically. The maximum we could receive from CDBG for this project would be $500,000. You could also be co-sponsoring a couple of other projects for other organizations, and I don't believe there would be a limit for Tilton. However, there'd be a limitation per organization,
Okay, thank you.
of course.
So we would be basically just making an approval for them to move forward with the public hearing.
That's all. Yep,
And then
that's correct.
And so in the interim of that, having that public hearing, we could
Have a discussion.
reach out with Michelle and have a conversation.
And then what happens if we disagree with the,
Well,
You can speak at the.
So the
Sorry.
question is, do we make a motion and just let them go forward and have the public hearing and not make a motion to approve the CDBG grant?
yes.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's correct.
we're not going to make a motion.
Reserve that decision of the board till
Yes.
later?
till the end?
Yeah. So we would just be making a motion to have them move forward with the public hearing, which
With the understanding that we have not approved the
Right.
CDBG
Absolutely.
request.
Jen, are those public hearings held during a selectman meeting or are they
Normally,
held at a different time?
They can be done either way, and it's usually a matter of preference and timing. And Donna Lane, again, the CDBG writer administrator, would take care of all of
Well,
the noticing and that sort of thing.
yeah. So yes. So my thought on this, right? If we're going to make that motion, where you're looking at, we have a selectman meeting on July 10th and then again on the 24th. So that's when it would be the 2 public hearings. But is that going to give you enough time? I mean, I don't want to push your time. I want to be respectful of your time in writing everything. But I also don't want to force the town to
Sure.
do something that.
Sure. And we want to be really hopeful. And as far as writing, we can prepare a package and be waiting on the public hearings. Unfortunately, I just looked it up, and the CDBG loan application next round is due the 4th Monday of July, which, that would work.
Fourth
That would
Monday?
be July 28th. So,
That would be the 28th.
yeah, so if the meeting happens on the 24th, I mean, we could have our application kind of ready to go and our fingers crossed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll make a motion that we allow Archways to have their public hearing. And they would have to have 2 public hearings. So one would be on July 10th and one would be on the 24th of July.
With the understanding we're not approving the CDBG grant at this time?
With the understanding that we're not approving the CDBG grant at this time.
Second.
Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. So Michelle, I'll reach out to you and we'll connect. We'll set up something. My guess is probably at that next meeting, we'll want to have a non-public with you, or if you're okay with that.
I probably would ask Jen to come as well, because she's more familiar with the That's it, just about.
Yeah, this won't be about the application. So the only person, I'll just need you. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
all. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Oh, good night.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jen.
Good night, Jen.
Okay. All right. So the next one is we did receive the highway safety grant amendment. Where is it here? This was. That's not it. In the red folder. What's the folder?
It's
Yep,
for
I got it.
speed related items.
Yep. So it's right here. I have it right here. So this was the to be signed folder. Do you want to talk a little bit about this, Tim? Just to give an update, or you want me to just?
Sure. So this is expanding the existing grant that we already have for $8,500. It adds about $12,000 in total for 3 devices, one of which is a speed trailer and software. Another is a sign that also captures speed as you're going past it or coming up to it, a stop sign. And then a third one is a speed, it collects speed information, but it's not visible from the road. So those 3 items together are about $12,000, a little over 12,000, I think 12,172. And our match is 25%, of which we can utilize one of our forfeiture funds to pay for it. So we will be receiving an additional $9,000 and change of equipment for the expense of this $3,000 that the PD is requesting.
So I have the document here, and it has all the breakouts of everything, so everybody can look at it.
Don't
Yep.
we already have that in our
Hmm.
thing that we stick out there? And
So that the old, that it has reached the end of its life.
Yeah.
best way to put
I
it.
mean, it's absolutely useless. Can't
Pretty
be
much.
repaired.
Pretty much. Yep.
Expense wise or technology wise?
Okay. From what I understand, it's at the end of its life.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we say that about our cruisers, and I never go grease. So
well, the
telling
fact
me the
that we're
technology is
Mhm.
no longer available to fix it, or it's not worth fixing because it costs more than what it's worth.
I think
That's what I was
that's
told.
where we were
Yep.
because this is a small fraction we're having to pay
Yep.
To get a new equipment.
Mr. Chairman, also, I understand one of these devices captures number plates and has the ability to, like a snapshot of the face of the driver. That is, if it's daylight, I guess. So it's like a super sneaky device that might help monitor bad drivers, kind of like our downtown camera
I believe there's a state RSA that only
allows.
so
yeah.
capturing speed is only allowed in specific places, and
Right.
capturing license plates is only allowed in a specific
Correct.
place, which at this time is at the drive-through toll booths, and that's it. for
Right.
the
I
whole
believe
state.
the school zones are included in that statute, Joe. So,
So I mean,
Yeah.
so that unless that changes, we wouldn't be able to use that.
right. I'm saying it has that ability, but you can't necessarily use it. But sorry.
Yeah.
So I
had to
think
clarify that.
what's important to note also is there's no effect for the taxpayer. This is all paid out of forfeiture funds, out of prior activities of the PD that have generated funds.
Is it limited to just speed things?
Traffic count too. It does give
No,
you.
I mean what the grant is for.
Oh,
It's in equipment, safety.
yeah.
equipment.
Yep.
So,
'Cause
John,
we-
I have the packet here that
Yeah.
I think explains
Yeah.
everything.
Of
It was all of the grant and everything.
okay.
So it was one of the to be talked about, and then pass it around. Everyone look at it.
So one of the concerns that we're looking at speed. We have something that's at the end of its life. But one of the biggest or huge problem in our town is the noise. And every time I hear it, well, we have no way of recording it.
Mm.
If you live on Main Street, where I do,
Mhm.
coming down a hill, it's all hours of the night. You cannot sleep through it.
I don't know how you do.
It's horrible.
Mm.
And
Right.
the thing I always hear is we have no way to
Right.
record sound.
Right.
Um,
Right.
And it's very detrimental to neighbors. I think anybody else who lives on a main street, you probably hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I walked in the door here, there was somebody backfiring about 4 times through the center of town, which makes people jump.
Jump. Sure.
It's
On purpose.
on purpose, and it's getting worse.
Yeah.
I see it from my office.
What we could do, possibly some money be spent on ways to enforce that through sound recording or a device that records that noise.
Yeah.
Maybe that would help with the certain firing ranges.
And firing ranges.
Manchester has it. Manchester has when a firearm is discharged within the city limits,
Pinpoint it.
they can pinpoint it. Yep. They have that availability.
I can
think
tell you we
the
do have
motor vehicle is pretty important.
we have some devices, but I believe when this has come up in the past, because the vehicles are traveling, it's very hard to get a set noise level, at any one position.
I don't know. When they come up a hill
Just sit
and they
there.
run that engine brake,
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Okay.
the Jake brake,
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be hard to pick. Would be hard to pick
Yeah,
up.
I mean, somebody could sit in my driveway just with a
Yeah.
microphone and
Yeah.
pick up on it all hours of the
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
And it's
And that's about to get worse, that the motor vehicle inspection law repealed today, effective in January. So these loud cars with bang, bang, bang
No
stuff
mufflers.
is going to get worse.
so we have an ordinance that covers that.
The noise.
Any noise that's disrupting to anybody, regardless
10
of the
p.m.
sound or the level of it.
Maybe
could
we
be
need
incurred.
to revise that, John.
Yeah.
The ordinance.
It covers what we have.
Maybe we need to make it a little bit more stricter.
It includes downshifting, backfiring, and that is written in there.
Yeah.
So is there a
Getting tired.
device out there that will measure these decibel levels of these noises?
The motor vehicle division has if you recall a few years ago, there's a decibel, they have a decibel meter for the exhaust on like the motorcycles and that stuff. I don't know if that decibel meter, I think it's just for the exhaust, isn't it, Eric? Yeah.
All right. Well, just don't
Maybe
get
we
too
could
far
ask
off
the
track.
chief to look into it.
Yeah. So here's the paperwork on that one. We are looking for a vote.
Yes.
Is that correct, Tim? Looking for a vote to accept this?
There's a specific motion to be made.
It's
Yep.
in the
I
packet.
think
So-
you have it there. A vote and a motion, both.
Right.
Is it in your report, Tim?
No,
No, it's
no,
in-
we just received this afternoon.
So can you come up here?
Yep.
Yep.
Because once we go through and everybody signs it, then we can make that. I don't see that. That's all I've got there, but I don't. That's the packet.
You know, very good point. We've been dancing around decibel levels
There's
for
that.
years, but no result.
And in the amount of, that determines 8,500.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Also authorize you to sign.
Yep.
So they don't.
Hand that to me.
Yep. Yeah, Pat can
Oh, no, this is
make
for
that
paying.
motion.
Yeah. Looking for
I know.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the terms of the highway safety grant as presented in the amount of $8,500 and the amended grant terms as presented in the grant agreement amendment notice for the adjusted total grant limitations of $17,629.06 and subrogate our authority to the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Eric Adams, to authorize signing of all documents related to the grant.
Second?
Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, can we pass that around, look at it first?
Yeah.
Nobody's looked at it, right?
Yeah, no, we can.
You know, before we make a motion to accept it, we should look at it.
Well, before we vote on the
Vote
motion,
on
we've
it,
already
yeah.
made it. We can hold the vote.
Yeah, we can hold the vote. That's fine.
We also would like to have the chief look at the other options that were brought up tonight.
I think that'd be a good idea. So we'll hold the vote. Sounds good to me.
It was nice. I'm almost cold right now. It won't be Monday. What they say, 86?
Yeah, something like that.
Back again?
Yeah.
So
And
today
the
was the
humidity.
first time,
Oh.
I never thought I'd say, boy, I hope it rains.
I had to put an app on my phone that tells me the temperature in the room. Let's come to that.
Where I get that?
Would it be possible to wait on that and ask if he can add on something for, or switch something out to record stuff?
Then it changes the grant.
Yeah, then it's gonna change.
You'll
the
lose
whole-
it.
Yeah, he'll
And then we lose the grant.
It's only for,
those
that would be
specific
covered?
updated. Yeah. He would have to have something that was accepted. The highway safety grants are administered through the state, but they're adopted by the National Highway Safety,
Yeah.
NHTSA,
NHTSA.
NTSB. Yeah.
Scope of work. speed enforcement equipment.
Yeah, that's it.
If you take the chance that it doesn't cover it, you've
No, I-
lost that grant.
Just,
It,
she just answered
yeah.
that.
Well,
scope of work, speed enforcement
okay.
equipment.
They're
So-
usually pretty specific.
Good question, though.
Very good
Whoop.
question.
Thank you.
Or that's the scope that we're entering or that they,
For this grant, that's the scope.
There are other highway grants
Yeah.
available.
There's all kinds. There's pedestrian.
you'd think the state would
seatbelt.
tighten that up into
Child
an
safety.
RSA.
Seatbelt grants, there's all kinds of grants out there.
Very, very good.
Oh, this is the one we just said for you to sign.
Right. Mhm.
Why are you passing it to me?
Well, read it.
Did you read it?
Everybody wanted to read it.
Oh, no, I'm all set with it. I signed enough of those in my lifetime.
All right.
That's pretty funny.
Are we good with the vote now or
Sure.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Mr. Chairman, can I, so I don't get in trouble with Amy, at some point, can I just go over to be signed to make sure we got all the things
Yes.
here?
Yep.
So,
Yep. Before we leave, I'll make sure we have
okay.
all the ones that Amy wanted checked off.
I stay in her good graces.
All right.
Good, Eric.
Moving on to the approval of minutes.
Mr. Chair, may I ask that we move them to the next meeting? I had absolutely no time to even look at them.
Well, I will say that I think they need to be sent back anyways.
Okay.
There was. Just pull it up real quick. So under where it says on page 2,
Mhm.
it was not the second paragraph. It was not Donna Toomey that answered those questions, and then Donna Toomey's name is throughout this. It was actually
Donna
Michelle
Lane.
Donna Lane. Yeah, sorry. No, it was Michelle Lennon, I believe, because I had asked her about how many staff, and she answered that. So I believe she's the one that answered, from what I can gather when I was reading this. Anytime it says Donna Toomey, should actually be Michelle Lennon.
Oh,
Was that just in paragraph 2, Mr. Jim?
Yes, I believe so, because she did mention Donna Lane in paragraph 4.
Okay, yeah.
So that was
Because
all set.
Sue Sue did have some questions
Yep.
that, of names, and she verified them with me, so.
And then the last one on the very bottom, adjournment. Selectman Constantino made a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:07 p.m. But if you look at just above that, under public session resumed at 9:45 p.m., we couldn't have made a motion at 9:07 if we just came out at 9:45.
I believe that should have said 8:45.
No, I'm pretty sure it should say 10:07 at the end.
we didn't come out of.
We didn't come out of here. We didn't
10.
leave here till 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's
I
right.
knew it was late.
The 9:45 is right. This should say at the adjournment 10:07.
7. Okay. Yeah, I know
I
it
know
was
it was,
late.
it was well after 10 o'clock when I got
Do you
home.
mind if we don't repeat that tonight?
Yeah, no, we won't. So I wanted to go back anyways.
Okay,
Are you guys good with that? Yes.
I am.
Okay.
I didn't see anything else when I read through it.
Yeah.
Those were just the ones that I picked out.
And May 29th, she updated as
Yep.
well. So
Yes. Did you see that, Catherine?
May
Say
29th,
again?
that was
The
your,
May 29th meeting
Yeah,
minutes?
you're
Those were updated to what you specifically were looking to have changed.
correct.
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
It was in it. Okay. I just want to make
It's-
sure you saw that. So
I
I'm,
was a little confused by it, but only because of the way the page was
oh,
hanging there. I thought it was part of these minutes.
oh, no, 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 no. So why don't, I'll make a motion for the May 29th meeting minutes to be approved with that correction that was made. Somebody want to second that?
I'll second that, Scanlon.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. And so the June 12th meetings will go back. All right. Public announcements. You're up.
Yes. And Mr. Chairman, may I, for the public or for the record, would you read the press release considering I can't talk? So that the public is aware. And I do need board approval on the press release and the signage. As I stated in my report to the board, these guidelines are very specific from the government. We've already passed it by them, but nothing was approved or sent out until this board approves it. So we will do that, and I will answer any questions that you have. So,
Okay.
but I do believe I did put it together in your books for the press release, or Amy did, so we could our record
got it,
would
yeah.
reflect it.
Does everybody have the press release?
Yeah, a question I have is, we're not mentioning the amount.
No, the grant did not specifically mention the amount, but the guidelines, Catherine, is that the reason for the signage to read the way it does is if any member of the public, not just necessarily a Tilton citizen, calls, that we have to have available the grant total amount of the cost of the project, the total amount of the cost of the grant. But it does not have to specifically say that. It does, the press release does have to indicate, which it does, the timeline for completion. So it will read that the Board of Selectmen are excited to restore this bridge and access to the Tilton Island by fall of 2026. It does have to have that language.
I ask because people are going to ask us
Yes.
Yep.
what that is.
Yep.
Are we free to tell them?
Absolutely.
yes.
Yes. Yep. It's all public information. And once the board approves this, I will put together for the office staff, or at least Amy downstairs, or anybody to answer in my stead on behalf of the board, any questions they might have, and it will spell out the cost, the amount of the grant and the cost of the project, two separate numbers.
I would suggest you send that to the Board of Selectmen too.
Yes.
So we're all on the same page.
Yes, I
We're
will.
all saying the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
is the consensus good about the press release?
Oh, yes.
With your questions answered? Yep.
A lot of work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you good if I read it now?
Yes.
All right. For immediate release, the Tilton, New Hampshire Board of Selectmen are pleased to announce the grant award approval of the Island Bridge project. This award is being supported in part by a grant from the Historic Preservation Fund administered by the National Park Service, Department of the Interior. The Tilton Island Bridge was built in 1881, providing access to the Tilton Island, which has been the place of numerous ceremonies, weddings, and free musical concerts for our citizens throughout the years. The Board of Selectmen are excited to restore this beautiful historic bridge and access to the Tilton Island by fall of 2026. The Tilton Board of Selectmen would also like to thank the Department of Interior, National Park Service, and especially United States Senator Jean Shaheen for her office for sponsoring this project and providing assistance in securing this award. on behalf of the Tilton Board of Selectmen and Scott Hilliard, Town Administrator.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you,
That's
Mr. Chairman.
exciting.
Yes, it is very exciting. And we've already had a organizational meeting. Not that I'm pushing things. Um, but we had an organizational meeting here the other day. Our chairman could make it. Selectman Constantino sat in, and the next meeting will have folks from Cumberland Farms representing them because they're our partners in
So
this.
the next one, and I think you did anyways, but the next meeting,
Yes,
just send it to all of us.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So that way everybody's on the same page. Because if John's not working that day or something like
Oh,
that,
yeah.
or Catherine
Yeah.
happens
Yeah.
to be driving by or whatever,
It's
That's
good. We
Good
talk
fit.
about what's needed, the construction, what we have, the police, highway. I invited the fire chief. He couldn't make it. He told me he'd make the next one.
Good.
But Tim, as the coordinators of the grant and the project, because Tim has been instrumental in this, and I would like the board to know that he is the genius behind the writing. I'm just the good looks at the front of the crowd. So sorry, Tim, I couldn't give you all the credit.
Don't give him a big head now.
Anyway.
Easy on your voice a little.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Exactly. And I do need a board approval for both the sign and the press release, and I will get them out tomorrow.
Okay, great.
So
Thank you,
moved.
Scott. Okay.
One more thing on that. I was contacted by Sam Thibodeau from the Historical New Hampshire Preservation Alliance, who originally had us as listed as the 7 to Save, which was one of the first steps that we did to get to where we're at now. And he wanted to discuss the history and how we got there and everything.
Sweet.
From it. I told him that I would talk to you folks first.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure we're all on the same page, and that I didn't know if you want me to give my part, but I think this,
Yeah.
I know some of the history we
I know you
went
do.
through back in the beginning.
Yep.
But Tim and yourself have been the ones that have processed all this grant stuff. So
Right.
I didn't know how you folks want to handle that.
I would like, Mr. Chairman, if John could join us on that historic side, because one of the things that this grant makes clear is that, it's a historic property, and that we meet the guidelines. We do need to document a number of things with either a photographer or a videographer, and all these costs are covered by the grant. But I think, I know you've got a number of years of expertise in this, John, and I'd love to have you, on this, join this, and maybe you could spearhead this historic piece.
Yeah, and
Side.
talk to him. And I think that he's an intern and he wants to do a little blurb
Oh,
for
that'd be nice.
the New Hampshire Preservation Alliance, showing the great things that they
Yep,
sort of got started.
absolutely.
and do
That's
that. So,
exciting.
Yes, it is.
and
I would like to move that John spearhead that with you on that
Thank
committee.
you.
Yeah, I'll second it. Any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, John. That would be great.
It's interesting because a lot of people don't realize the whole portion that we had all this originally to paint the bridge,
Right.
but we couldn't paint the bridge because it was owned by another town too.
Right.
So they had to pay for half of it. And I'll keep it as brief as possible. So we had to get Northfield and
Mhm.
Tilton, the exact same town meeting,
Hmm.
Tilton to purchase it or to accept it,
Accept
and
it, yep.
Northfield to release it at
Mhm.
the same
At
town
the
meeting,
same.
2 separate towns.
Yeah.
That was great. It worked. And then we found out we couldn't own property in Northfield.
Oh.
So now we had to get the town property border realigned.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And register.
Done.
Yeah.
And hopefully it didn't change our representation from that either. So, and then after that, went to get that done. And then we realized, you know what? This is two separate counties.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So now
right.
the
Yeah,
county border had to be realigned. So,
that's right.
and that was a big part there.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Preambulation.
Yeah. Preambulation, right?
That's enough.
Yeah.
So we can get together and you can provide the other part.
Yeah.
That was a big ordeal.
Yeah.
Why did it take so long? Well,
Well, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, might I say part of the vote to approve both of these is for me to authorize the sign maker to move ahead with the building the sign because we have to have it posted, visibly posted.
Yep.
And I'm going to, I was going to ask the board to think about their thoughts, but where the current statue is by the, it has to be visible, it has to be a certain size, all the language is in there. It'll take her about a week to make, and then we have to install it. And it can't be, a vinyl sign that can be ripped off and tied to the guardrails. So we'll have to put posts in the ground and mount it that way. So I'll have DPW do that. But I was thinking in the grassy area where it's most visible and people can see it, it has to be seen from the road. So putting it on the island itself is really not conducive. So I know that I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but where the current statue is, there, right on the curve.
Oh, you mean timetable maybe?
Timetable Mabel, yes.
one of the things is like where they put the old home day sign and that
Yeah.
on it,
Yeah,
that part of the fence runs kind of parallel to the road.
right.
But if you go between the bridge and the railroad sign, it's where the porta potties used to be.
Yeah.
It's a lot closer to the road and it's angled so everybody coming into town would see it.
Yeah.
So,
And there's not going to be any porta potties there, so it's a flat ground
Okay. Yeah.
right there. We used to
Yeah.
put a platform down,
Oh, for the porta potty.
porta potties there.
How long does that sign need to be up?
It needs to be up before any construction begins, and it needs to be up 30 days after construction is completed.
Yeah,
So
they're
it's gonna
very,
be up through winter for you.
Yes, it is. It's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
be,
So that might be a little close to the road. where
yeah,
the
for
porta
snow
potty used
plowing.
to be.
12 feet.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Take a look.
I would give them leeway to put
Yeah.
it in either spot, whichever is gonna work, and we have to think about winter plowing.
Yeah, and I discussed with the sign maker, it needs to be very durable. So,
Yeah.
it's going to cost, well, it's not going to cost us anything. It comes out of the grant, but it's going to be roughly $1,000 for the sign. So,
well, it, also to keep in mind that we have certain deadlines by which we have to meet. So these
Correct.
things have to be done within so many days.
Yep.
And we have to show proof of it, that sort of thing. In fact, everything that you're looking at now has to be pre-approved by the National Park Service before we even move forward to getting your approval on it. So
yes.
We'll get her done.
a lot of
Okay.
eyes.
Yeah. So if there's anything, I did talk to Scott a little bit about this. And if there was anything like that he forecasts in regards that we're needed for the grant, and it's like an in-between select board meeting, he will make every effort to let the board know ahead of time, hey, this next portion, their deadline is this, and then we'll know to do what we need to
Jump
do
on it,
to
right.
get it moving forward. Okay. So you're gonna, as far as like the signage and stuff, everybody got to see what the signage looked like.
I sent you both. Yeah.
Yeah, they sent it out.
Looks great.
Yep.
So does somebody want to make a motion that we move forward with
Building the
signage
sign.
that Scott sent us?
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. So that's
Yeah.
good. You're good with
Yeah.
that. You're
Yep.
gonna you're gonna get that over.
Yep.
I think Catherine brings up a good point. Where this thing's gonna be up during the winter,
Yeah.
we're gonna need to
Yeah, make sure we got it in a place.
Take
Yeah.
a look and,
Yeah.
Wherever fits best.
Yep.
yeah, just get it done.
Yeah. And so the board knows, I will in the morning send out the press release to the different press agencies, but also to Senator Shaheen's office. Jason Janvrin has been my contact there, and he's been very helpful. So,
great.
excuse me, Jonathan Janvrin.
We'll send one to our former town administrator that did a lot of work contacting Jane Shaheen and working on that. I think that would be,
Jeannie.
thank you.
Jeannie, yeah.
Yeah, Jeannie. I absolutely. Yep.
You know who else we ought to let know is Joe Jessamine.
Joe Jessamine. Yeah,
He
absolutely.
had his heart.
We
Oh,
That's
we did.
we did
Here's
forget
the other
something.
public announcement.
Yes.
We did forget a public announcement. I
We
don't know how
we did see Joe Jessamine on Monday evening when one half of you went to see the award given to Ken Norton, the Citizen of the Year. The other half of us were up at the Lakes Region Planning Commission annual
meeting.
award meeting, and Jane Alden was charged with getting Joe Jessamine up there because he received an award for his community work
Yep.
for Lakes Region Planning
Yep, his service is
and his services to all these years being Lakes Region. And so at that time, we were telling him, he said, well, how about the bridge? So he got to sit with us. So
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
did tell him. We
We
did
did
give him
tell
all the
him.
information about the bridge.
they were very excited about the
Yeah,
bridge.
he was.
So
Yeah, I mean, his heart is in it.
Yes.
Yep.
It's
Did
really.
he get
Yep.
any like riding gloves or took to go with the boots?
no,
No, but you should have seen his face when they called his name.
Yeah.
They're like, I wish I could have taken a photo.
Me too.
and he had just come from
I could-
work, so you knew
walked
what he
across
was.
the street from work.
And he was at the town docks, and
Town
it was at
docks.
Chase's house,
So-
Chase House in Meredith, and he got up there and he goes, I didn't know a thing about this. Well, you're not supposed to.
That's what they call a surprise.
It was a surprise. So it was really good. Jane did her job and did it well.
Yeah.
So
All right. Okay. So, Pat, you're up.
all right. I'm gonna
Did we
switch my.
finish the finance? Did we do
Oh.
finance officers?
Not yet.
Oh,
He,
okay.
He's coming. I'm gonna switch my hat.
Yep. So we'll do him, and then we'll do the selectmen reports, and then Tim has. Do you have anything else, Tim? You wanted?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a couple of things
Yes.
afterwards.
Yeah.
so.
Okay. So we'll have Selectman Constantino. Well, she's turning her hat, so she is now the land use coordinator. She's going to do a quick presentation on street naming, and then we'll have you, and then we'll go into our selectmen reports.
Okay, you have before you, it's better known as Winner's Circle. You know where that is? 472 West Main Street.
Yep.
Main Street,
West Main Street?
Main Street, next to Aroma Joe's.
Tilton Family
There's a
Dental.
road there?
No,
Well,
Oh,
but we're asking to be one.
Yeah.
So there are 3 businesses in there, one of which needs to have a mailbox, which needs to be secured and have confidential information be coming to that mailbox and so on and so forth. So 911 is asking that we have it be named a street. So we went back to the owner and asked them to pick 3 names. They gave us 3 names, and which is the protocol. Remember 7 Wildlife Crossing? That's what we did. Okay.
Yep.
So they picked Winner's Circle, and this is the information I'm going to give you back from 911, which is our liaison, Zach Branscombe. Winner's Circle is one of the names that they pick, and we said this has a slight phonetic similarity to Winter Street, and there's a remote possibility of miscommunication over the radio. I feel like it's a pretty remote chance, but wanted to raise it, at least bring attention to it for your select board. The other name was Brad S. Street. This doesn't have any conflicts, but it would be concerned about the S being confused for a post-fixed directional. Brad South Street, Brad Street South, etc. It is uncommon for a road name to have a single letter, including that it is not a directional. Spinoza Way was the third one. Well, that was actually their first choice. This road name is unique within Tilton in the state, actually. My preference would be Spinoza Way, but I don't see any names that would be in conflict with RSA 231:133. I hope this review is helpful. Please let me know if you or your board have any questions. Best, Zach. So I would like permission to go back and name that Spinoza Way, and then that way I can then name the businesses 3 Spinoza Way, 5, or whatever.
So we're basically naming a driveway.
Yes, but we're also, there's nothing behind there. So if it ever gets developed, you're looking forward in the future in the back land there. If they ever develop in the back portion. So the abutter in the back, it's empty. If they ever went back further into there, it would become a road rather than a driveway.
If the town accepted it as.
If it was a private way, it wouldn't be a driveway, it would be a private road.
But it's a driveway right now.
And a private
Right.
driveway.
So how would this be classified as a private road?
Private way,
It's a driveway.
private way.
It's a driveway.
Which is a driveway. So, and that doesn't have any implications that we would ever have to go and provide any utilities for it. And is that driveway already have a permit for it? Do they have a driveway?
They already have it's already a curb cut with DOT,
I
everything.
mean, because driveways have to be a certain distance away from borders. I think it's 20 feet from a,
This would be, whatever it is, has been in existence for
A long
very,
time,
very long
Yes.
time.
at least 20 years.
So it's, if it doesn't meet it, it's non-conforming.
in, I mean, would they, if they're just, could they just continue it without going on back to planning to, I mean, the length of it, we should say how long it is so that if they ever add on to it to make it accessible to the back, that,
Then they'd have to go to planning.
so we should know the length.
If they ever added on to it, they'd have to go back to planning anyway.
Well, a lot of people don't if it's just a dirt type thing, should we just put the length of it? In
The
there?
length of the
The
road.
length of the road, the width is
Let's
kind
not be
of,
calling it a road.
of the driveway,
It's a private way.
the driveway / private way. And just put the actual length of it into it. And we don't have to survey it or anything, but let's measure it.
We can do that.
If anybody
So
else.
you need a motion from the
You need-
board to accept the name?
Mhm.
Motion to accept
What's the Spinoza?
the name Spinoza Way for, do we have a lot number or just,
472
West Main.
Main
well, it's
Street.
for the lot, right? Not just
Yep,
for
the
one
entire
property.
lot.
I don't have a lot number. So Except the name Spinoza Way for that lot.
For the lot that Pat's referring to.
I'll second.
So do we want to add into that and that they shall list the actual length of that road, way with the land use office?
To name that for 911, that's not a requirement, but I guess we could make it a requirement. I think, don't we have the capability with GIS mapping to figure out what that length is and put it in our records?
Mhm.
Make note of it?
Yeah, we do.
Why don't we just do it that way?
And we'll do that.
Yep.
We'll have it on record in our files.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna go in the road book,
In the
so to
road book,
speak,
right.
so that we know the
Yep.
name of that driveway, just
Oh,
like we
you
did
can
the
put-
ones up on.
Because we have to notify the fire department, the police department, the post office of all the new addresses in town, library, Franklin, surrounding towns.
Do we have to notify DOT? Because I don't know
DOT, yes, yep.
how they like that now.
Hmm. I have a list of all the people we notify. Yep.
All right, I'm good. Yeah, sure. All
Vote
in
on the
favor?
motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Spinoza Way.
Italians moving in.
Okay.
Do we put a-
No. It's not
You're
owned by
up.
the town of
Okay.
Tilton.
Mr. Chairman,
They can put a sign up if they wish.
You have to put your own. Yeah.
both
The
both
permit
Tim and I are
committee.
members of M-Man New Hampshire. It's a peer organization. M-Man stands for Municipal Managers of New Hampshire. So most town administrators, assistant town administrators are part of this group. It's a great resource for us to reach out and talk group and peer support and that stuff on issues. And they administer 2 annual grants of $2,000 apiece that they pick up the tab for a national conference. And it's done by scholarship. They have a committee. Everybody or those interested submit applications. I took it upon myself to submit my own name. And I was one of 2 awards that were received in the amount of $2,000 to go to the national conference in Tampa, Florida on October 25th to 29th of 2025. And it's up to $2,000, so it pays for airfare and hotels mostly. There were a couple of classes that I did sign up for. I would ask the board to allow me to accept this grant and go, and we will be reimbursed in the amount of $2,000 from M-Man, New Hampshire. It's based on a number of things. I think they pick a relatively newer municipal manager and a probably long-term manager. The award is in the name of Jessie Levine, who was a long time, I think, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, her last stint was in Centipede, but she was one of the original town administrators, and she's passed away now. But Jessie was very well known and respected throughout the state. So I'm excited to receive the award, but I can't do anything if the board doesn't approve me going. So you do have one meeting during that time that I might miss, but I'm sure that Tim could fill in or would offer to fill in.
Where is it?
Tampa, Florida.
I just wanted that for the record,
Okay.
just in case you decided to go to Cancun instead.
Right now, Mexico's a little hostile. So let me Constantino.
I'll,
So
I'll make that motion that you accept the grant.
I'll
Second.
second. On you.
Thank you.
Any discussion?
Mm-mm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And I promised the board to bring back a head full of knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, no pet alligators.
We'll
No.
be waiting with abated breath.
Okay.
Please, no plastic souvenirs.
No
Thank you.
souvenirs. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you very much.
I just have one. Oh, are we gonna go down the
Yep.
selectmen's things? Okay, never
Yep.
mind. Go ahead.
So we're going to do selectmen reports now. And Vice Chair Scanlon, you are up.
Not too much to say. I would have reserved that. I didn't notice that. But the receiving the Citizen of the Year, that was a good thing. So we don't have the cane recipient. We don't have one, right?
She's put out an announcement in a couple of different places. There's a whole process that she has to post.
So we don't have anybody that we have to
Right.
get to the parade.
There are-
Typically, we
Right.
make sure
There
we
are
have it.
nobody with the death of our Boston Post cane recipient, Cecile Roberts, the last couple of months. We do not have anybody in the replacement yet. There's a whole process. There are people that are sending in emails for justification for a new one, but not yet.
I'm going to pass on applying for that.
My bones feel like I should.
I don't know. So typically, Casey over at Lowe's had provided flowers and that, and I've gone up. I didn't know.
I just went by
Yeah.
twice and no luck. But
And there's no
I'm
luck.
Going there tomorrow.
So
I
You know,
can't get them either. I went there today. Yeah.
I don't know if she actually works there
Mhm.
or what, or
I have
if she's a regional.
I have an inside,
Oh, good.
one of my employees.
Okay.
Because it would be,
works there, so I'll get a heads up tomorrow that this person is there.
because I'd like to get them.
Yeah.
And if they're not going to, I mean, it's their responsibility, but if they
Yeah.
don't do it, it doesn't look nice,
No,
They
it
don't wanna
doesn't. I
supply 'em.
agree.
I'll go out there, I'll put them in.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I stopped. I told the lady at the desk that today, John. I said, one of our selectmen takes care of that for you. I said graciously, and I said, we were looking for nothing other than to get some plants or shrubs or something to, make it dress it up a little bit.
Right,
And
yeah.
I said, he'll do the work. So she did take my name and information, but that's been given before. So since Casey's left there,
So the decision might be that if they don't do it, do we want
do.
to do it?
Yeah.
I mean,
They by site plan are required to maintain that lot.
yeah.
Correct.
And it was nice because
Required.
Casey donated all kinds of plants every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did a lot for our town, and
Yeah.
um,
I told the girl at the desk that.
and I
Beth,
didn't mind doing it
Beth
because
today.
I liked it looking nice.
He was a great community partner.
Yes, he was.
Great. I did meet the assistant manager, who's Joe.
Okay.
I know Joe.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy. Maybe we should ask him. Super, super good.
You don't remember his last name? Okay.
Conlon.
No,
Oh, Con.
Joe Conlon. He used to work for me as well.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. So maybe he can.
I would just go right up and ask for him. He's there most days.
We can even take some of that seconds that fell over or something like that,
Mhm.
put them in the ground. They can still grow great. Okay. That's all I have.
Mr. Chairman, might I just briefly jump in? In my report, I recognized Selectman Vice Chairman Scanlon and Catherine Dawson, Selectman Dawson, for their efforts on if you notice, the trough looks very nice, the
Yes.
flowers and that. And Jane Alden and I had a discussion. John's been taking care of some of the statues and headstones and that stuff. And I just, in my report, I wanted to acknowledge
Yeah,
that
thank you. Yeah,
we're appreciative of it. So,
enjoyable.
yeah.
Yeah, it looks nice.
So-
Thank you. All right,
Your plants are great.
Selectman Hanson, you are up.
The only thing I had was to bring up that subject that I had went there twice and was unsuccessful. But I have a couple contacts with Joe, and one of my employees' partner works there, and I get an inside scoop when that person will be there.
Yeah.
So-
If you hear anything, give
I
me a
will.
shout. I'll get right on it.
Selectman Dossman, you are up.
I just have a few follow-up. Well, no, one of them's not a follow-up.
Hold on, let me start taking notes.
Um, the economic impact of the housing. Were you able to?
I sent an email, waiting for a response. I actually am going to call him tomorrow because I have to call somebody else down at the state anyways
Okay.
on another housing matter. So I know he'll get back to me, but I know that I don't know if he was on vacation or what.
Okay.
So
Just
Yep.
it's coming. It's
Yep.
going to hit us.
Yes.
And along with that, I mean, I'm expecting it to really hit impact fees. We do have an ordinance in our zoning that allows us to implement impact fees. It's kind of limited. It has to do with, infrastructure mainly. But we were told years ago, yeah, quite a few years ago, that we could not enact our impact fees. You remember that?
2011 was the last, I've been following that up, Catherine, was when the impact fees were imposed. And I don't know if Tim knows, but it was after that that I saw, I think it was Jeannie Forrester in a letter or a report to the board about somebody questioning those impact fees legality. But I have reviewed them and I would like to move forward. I'd like the board to move forward, but I think they're really important and necessary. But I would be willing to chase that down and get other communities' impact fees and their language and compare it with ours.
I'd
I
like,
read through ours and I read through the RSAs that enables them. And I didn't see anything conflicting.
I
I
didn't
didn't see
either.
any reason why we could not implement our impact fees.
I asked that a while ago, and you
Yeah.
told me about that situation about
Yeah.
some potential
That's-
lawsuits or something like that
Yeah,
was
it
brought
was
up.
That would be helpful.
yeah.
Because I mean,
Okay.
we're
I
gonna
kind
get
of
hit.
asked the same question sitting in there. Why aren't we doing that? I mean, look at the building we got going on here.
Yeah.
The impact that we're going to have here.
As I said in my report, the land use office has been a revolving door in the last couple of weeks.
Well, a lot of the developments we have, their impact to utilities per se are Route 3, the state's roads.
Right.
That some developers, they put in their own sewer to connect to the town's sewer. So there's no impact, if you will, to
Mhm.
collect on. But there are some coming up that do impact town road, town facilities. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm kind of anxious to
Yeah.
get that going.
Yep.
My other question was, where are we with the trough? Having planted it, and the bricks that had flown off had been stacked there.
Yeah.
And I did run into the gentleman who actually, I didn't realize he came over and cleaned up all the mess
Oh.
after the
Yeah.
accident.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. Oh.
Yes. So I kind of put him in like a jigsaw puzzle
Yeah.
on the side, but I was really amazed at the damage. And I'm going to tell you, normally we're in the trough and on the trough. Nah, I didn't trust it.
Yeah.
So where are we with that? Have we got?
I have not got the final quote yet. He did tell me he'd get it to me, Ron Dunlop, soon. I did tell him that it was the discussion that I had had with the board that it would become a fall project because I said to him, I said, whether we plant flowers or not is different, but we were going to. So I'm just waiting on his 2 quotes, because he's given me a quote for sealing the town hall in a separate quote. But also for that, I have submitted the accident report to our insurance company. I have not pulled the trigger on collecting any monies because I need the estimate first.
Sure,
So,
okay.
and I did talk to John Chase on, Tim, what day did I go up to Academy Street? Monday, right? Wednesday. On Academy Street. I talked to John Chase up there, and he was going to send his team over, or his guy over, McPhail, to pressure test the.
Okay.
And I told him, I said, I didn't see any leaks or anything, but we knew what it was before. We would like to turn it on because it's currently off and pressure test it just to make sure we didn't cause any leak.
I mean, the trough part no longer collects water, but you can see why, because.
Yeah.
But that's easily sealed, but.
Yeah.
I
And-
just,
And DPW is watering daily.
oh, good.
I asked him, yeah. So,
Oh, good, thank you.
so when it doesn't rain.
Okay, and there was a water flow, backflow test done at Riverfront Park, and it failed.
Oh.
Which is an indication that the device has failed. The park commissioners aren't meeting for almost a month.
I'm sorry, Catherine, I was coughing.
Weeks, I think it'll be, not next week. We have like 3 weeks before the park commissioners meet again, 2 weeks. So I'm not sure the process, but it
Well-
used to be Public Works would go over there and fix it.
Well, I was coughing.
The backflow device
The
failed.
backflow, Riverfront Park's backflow
Okay.
test failed.
Oh, okay.
So typically,
They
I'm
clear it.
repeating, typically, that means the device is not working,
Okay.
which is why they test it.
And Public Works changes it.
They have in the past.
Mm.
But I don't know. I don't know if you have to be some kind of certified to do that. to change
Because
the
that's
device.
what we use at the
I also
PD.
don't know, is it our device or is it the water district's device?
I'll inquire and find out.
Would you?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
But we should get it taken care of. We don't want any backflow problems.
Mm-mm. No.
Then they'll come back and test it again, I
Okay.
presume. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's that? Okay. Selectman Constantino?
Yes, has everybody looked at the pictures for the cluster seats? Tanga Outlet has asked, what do you think? Where could we use them? We had a couple of thoughts. Tim and Scott had thought it over a little bit. I don't know if they've thought it further. Do you think parks could use any of them instead of the
I was just
picnic tables up there under the pagoda?
I was trying to think of how you would secure them.
Yeah, no, the picnic tables up
Well,
there are
they're
designed.
bolted.
Are
Well,
You
they're
can bolt,
designed.
you can bolt them on the bottom.
But then you got to bolt them to
You'd have to put
something.
some cement
Yeah, you'd have,
footings
Through
in
the
you'd have
cement.
to put some cement footings down
Got it.
to do that. That was my only thought. If
Picnic tables at Riverfront Park under the pavilion are designed for wheelchair access at the end.
yeah, and there's no wheelchair.
And there's no
access for
wheelchair
those.
access for those.
I did drive by, Mr. Chairman and board members, today when I was picking up lunch. I drove by just to look at them. They look pretty decent, but
Yeah, they're in good
Well,
shape.
they are, and
Yeah.
I'm just
Are they
I was
in-
trying to think about where we could even use them. That was the
You don't need a patio at the,
Are they indoor or
Near.
outdoor?
Outdoor.
well, they definitely are outdoor. You can use them outdoors. That's
They're
what I was-
aluminum.
I
I was trying to
I
think
only
of-
looked at the picture, so I couldn't really.
Indoor, outdoor. You could use them both,
How many
actually.
of them are there?
There's 15 sets total.
if
They,
what about
he wants to get rid of them. I mean,
about
you
up
read
at-
the email, it's cheap.
what about up at like the field.
Salmon Run?
Yeah, because we have, well, yeah, maybe like, but, but what about,
No structures at Salmon Run.
what about the field that's up by the PD?
Or farmer's market at night.
Farmer's market? If
Well, I
they-
was
people
thinking
wanna
we
sit down and
might
eat there?
want to, since they're for outdoor, maybe we could accept them and put them up at Public Works, because Public Works, maybe we could put a couple out there. They have a nice grassed area there. They want to have lunch, nice day, can picnic table for them. That's not a bad idea to put a couple at 132 Ball Field.
That's what I was thinking, because maybe for like the farmer's market, but also, even in the winter when we have the ice skating.
Yep.
Parents could sit there if the bleachers and stuff weren't
Somebody wants to
available,
go
or-
have a picnic in the park.
Yeah. But you'd have to,
And
but there would
eventually,
be added cost.
the island,
Yeah.
They're
Poor little,
over by where Joe cooks.
Oh,
It's up
maybe
there.
if you're there.
be nice to have something more
More historical
period.
looking.
Yeah. But, up at the PD, I don't think we need to anchor them.
They're heavy.
Yeah, I would just be nervous.
But I would take them and put them at Public Works.
I think,
and
John,
then
if we,
15?
excuse me.
if we can't find a use for
We
them all, we could
take
don't, maybe the
5?
school. Maybe the schools could use some of them.
So we make an offer to them.
Offer? Oh, I thought they were
Well,
giving them.
no,
no, but they're really.
they are, let me know what you all can afford and they are yours.
$5 a piece. $1 a piece. We start low. I can't see.
Yeah, if
I
it's
did
something
think-
we're struggling for a use for, I'm kind of with John. I wouldn't offer much.
Yeah.
I think we just
Wind up
let
paying
Tim
to dispose.
negotiate the,
Price.
how many do you want? Like 10?
One.
Well, if we did,
Yeah, those would have to be secured.
that's what yeah. So that you'd have to put a footing down.
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah.
They're not,
Secure 'em.
They can't be for sure.
Yeah. They
they're
can't
not
just-
secured.
That's because they're on a concrete floor.
I'm sure they're probably bolted in.
If you put those on
Concrete.
grass, it will sink in. They won't be even. You're going to have to put
You're gonna
some
have to
type
put a
of
pad
footing
in.
down
They
and
only-
then bolt them to the
Yeah.
footing.
How many people do they
Really?
say?
No,
Yeah, if you look at them.
just
And they're not even
put
handicapped.
one of those pins that bolts that you have like for a tent or something.
A big one.
Yep.
Like a 3-foot one.
But they'd sink in. And then you're gonna have to mow around them. You're gonna have to go and weed whack around them.
I still think it's not a bad idea to have them up there, because especially for the farmers markets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially if people want to take food that they just got from the farmers market and sit down and eat it.
There's a food truck up there too.
Right.
I mean, it's nice.
Money would be better spent.
Oh,
on a
I see.
picnic table.
I didn't notice
that-
the seats
that
were
sit
just
more
one.
people and you can actually.
Well, you slide into the seat. I mean, you walk up,
I-
slide into the
I
seat.
didn't notice just a
So
single
somebody-
pedestal.
Right. So even with like somebody in a wheelchair, you could actually have them slide into that seat. That's what they're kind of made for too.
Looks like they have an umbrella hole.
So do we still want to have Tim negotiate 10 of them?
I don't think they're gonna be inappropriate.
I'm just
For
trying to
my
think
use,
of
yeah.
where. I mean, I like Catherine's idea with that for DPW, but I would want to just ask the guys at DPW and say, hey, would you guys want one of these?
I think the cost of installing them someplace. It's really, I mean, it'd be cheaper just to buy a picnic table.
Right.
Okay.
I'm kind of at, no, thank you right now. Thank
Yeah, I
you, no,
kind of
thank
am
you.
too. Just because of that. So I'm feeling that as well.
I mean, the table must be, I couldn't really see a single pedestal as well.
So in the past, they've given us, John and Eric, they've given us the benches and the trash bins that we have downtown, and we paint
Yep.
them every year and
Oh, nice.
update them. That's where we get them from. Cheap.
Yep.
So that's why he's offering these to
Yeah.
us. So
I appreciate it. I just,
every 5 to 8 years, they update their stuff and then they offer them to us. So it's a no.
Yep.
Thank them very
Thank
much.
'em,
and
yeah.
say
Thank you.
they-
I would,
very much.
like I said, maybe the schools, even Compass Classical, they all have concrete now. Well, asphalt and park doesn't work, but they all have concrete areas. Anyway, yeah. Thank you,
Okay,
but no, thank you.
I can suggest that. Okay. What was the other thing? Old Home Day, we need to know who's going on the,
well, if it's Saturday, I can go. If it's Sunday, I just gotta check to make sure.
so Saturday, it's.
Hopefully I'll know tonight and have an answer
It's
for you.
Scott,
I'm either day.
John. John, you don't know.
Not Saturday. If it's Sunday, I can do.
Sunday for John H. I'm just gonna buy the candy. And Pat for Sunday, but not. Okay, Eric, Saturday.
Saturday and a question mark for Sunday.
Okay. Tim, you riding with Scott?
No, I've got, I have some showings this week.
Can you take the convertible?
You do?
If she'll let me.
All right. Yeah, we'll have to call her.
Oh,
and
we
see.
can all ride in the convertible.
There you go.
No.
If she'll let me. If I tell her it's for the selectmen, she'll probably let me. But if I tell her it's me, she'll probably say, no, I'm taking it.
And if you tell her we're gonna be throwing candy out, then she won't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then she'll say, no, that Scotty, you'll have to pick it up. Okay, that's all I have then. Thank
Right.
you.
I do not have anything to report. So right now. So any public comments? Nobody online. Nobody's online. Nobody's here. All right.
Moving right along.
Moving right along.
We do not have a meeting on July 3rd, correct? Or 2nd or whatever it is.
Next week?
By 3rd.
3rd, right?
Right.
Okay, got it.
No.
Just want to confirm that.
10th is your next meeting.
10th is the next meeting.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can I just pop in for a minute on one thing, the special detail fund?
We forgot Tim.
Oh, yes. I did
So-
ask him if he had anything.
So the collective bargaining agreement has, as of July 1st, the wages for special details for the officers increasing. And I'm making a recommendation
Yes.
that the board increase the rates for details by $5 an hour. That's both for commercial and town school rate. You could opt to do just commercial and leave the town school rate as it is. But about 80% of the details that we do are commercial. So that's where the bulk of the revenue comes for the detail fund. But I would like to have the board make a motion to increase at least the commercial detail rate by $5 an hour, effective July 1st.
I move that we increase existing police detail invoice rates by $5 per hour effective July 1, 2025. Can I get a second?
Second,
Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think we should increase the town/school. Is it school district or just town/school rate? I mean, it's the taxpayers. It's the public who ends up paying for that.
Okay.
I mean, the commercial is one thing, but this town and school, I think we should leave alone.
All right. So I can add
well,
on.
wait a minute, who in the town are paying for that?
Excuse me?
Who in the town is paying for that?
Well, for example, the sewer sometimes uses a detail or sometimes we do our own. I took the course, but so anybody that's on sewer would pay for that rate. Now, just so the public knows, I don't have sewer and I'll never have sewer, so it's not for my own benefit.
Got it.
But everybody who pays for sewer helps pay for that rate. And
So I can.
I think it's where the town is concerned, we should not be increasing it.
I forgot about sewer.
So I can add on to my motion
No.
Or I'll just withdraw my motion.
Withdraw my second.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman, if it's any help, when I was sheriff, I had two rates, an outside detail rate, which charged the companies that used it.
Yep.
And a county
County
rate.
rate, yeah.
Right. So there's nothing that prevents you from saying this rate increase is for, as Tim said, commercial, and keeping the current rate that we have for
So-
local and for school.
Right.
All right.
So just move
So
that we increase the commercial rate to $115 an hour for commercial. And keep the town rate status quo.
you good with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Anything else on that, Tim? Anything else you wanted to add in? All right. Okay.
6:30.
Time being 6:30 p.m.
Call for pizza.
I make a motion to move into non-public per RSA 91-A:3, section 2A and B. The dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplining of such employee, or the investigation of any charges against him or her, unless the employee affected has a right to a public meeting, and to request that the meeting be open, in which case the request shall be granted.
Second. Roll call vote. Constantino, yes.
Hanson, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
Dawson, yes.
Adams, yes.
Sorry.
It's because you're fast. All right.
Mike, you're gonna shut that off then? Yes.
Oh.
This conference will now be recorded.